Good morning there, viewers. This is Harry.
Hello.
And I'm Damien, and we're going to do a review on football, AFL football for round 11 and Southern football in Tasmania. So we'll start off with a round 11 view for the AFL, which started last Friday night between Melbourne and the Bulldogs. And what happened in that game, Harry?
Melbourne won by 28 points, with the score being 59-87. And Jack McRae was the player of the game. He got 36 disposals, 147 AFL fantasy, and 9 tackles. And Bailey Fritsch kicked the most goals with 3 goals.
Yeah, Bailey kicked 3 and McDonald kicked 3 for Melbourne as well.
Yep.
And also the best players for Melbourne, you got Clayton Oliver, Harms, Stephen May did well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did Marlon Pickett.
Yeah, they did well.
Pickett.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was sort of tipped to be a close game, but Melbourne sort of started pretty well in the first quarter and got a jump on them, didn't they?
Yeah.
What was the score at the end of the first quarter?
14-41.
Yeah, so Melbourne sort of kicked away in that first quarter.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll move on to the next game. So the next game was Collingwood versus Geelong. What happened in that one, Harry?
So Chris Main for Collingwood was a good player. He had 32 disposals and 123 AFL fantasy. Chris got the most tackles with 6 tackles. Tom Hawkins kicked 3 goals.
Yeah.
And the score was 51-61.
Yeah, so 10-point win to Geelong. From what I heard, it wasn't really a game to be viewed. It was a bit of a scrappy game. But Geelong would be happy with the win. Collingwood wouldn't be that happy. Like, they'd be happy to get close to Geelong, but as we know, Collingwood haven't really been going that well this year.
No.
So it would have been nice for them to win, but not everyone's a Collingwood supporter, are they, Harry?
No.
Who do you back for?
I back for Essendon, Brisbane and St Kilda.
Oh, you got 3. Ah.
And the score at quarter time was 3-15.
Cool. Righto, we'll move on to the next game between Brisbane and GWS. What happened in that one, Has?
Brisbane crashed the Giants.
Thrashed them, did they?
Tim Taranto got 36 disposals though. And then Mitch Robinson was the player of the game. He got 117 AFL fantasy and 4 goals. Hugh McLuckish got the most tackles with 7.
So 64 points. That's a
64
thrashing,
points.
isn't it?
Uh-huh.
So Mitch Robertson, a Tasmanian boy,
Yep.
did well. 4 goals and best player.
Yep.
Pretty good. Righto, on to the next game. We've got St Kilda and North Melbourne. Both haven't been travelling that well of late, have they?
No.
What happened in that one, Harry?
So St Kilda were going good in the third term, but then North Melbourne came in and came crashing in the last quarter. Aaron Hall for North Melbourne, he got 33 disposals.
Yep.
Mason Wood for St Kilda, he got 3 goals. Luke Dunstan, he was the player of the match with 140 AFL fantasy and 13 tackles.
Right.
And the score is 88-68.
Right. So 10-point win to the Saints. Right.
And the score at quarter time was 24-6.
Ah. Righto. So we'll move on to the next one. West Coast versus Essendon at Optus Stadium.
Hawthorne.
Oh, we've got West Coast Essendon. We'll do that one next. We've got West Coast Essendon at Optus Stadium in Perth. So the Bombers had to fly over to Perth.
Yep.
They got out of Melbourne early before the COVID restrictions. So Essendon, probably not many teams when they travel away do that well in Perth, Western Australia, do they?
No.
So Essendon did quite well from what I hear, Harry. Tell us what happened in that game.
Yeah, so the final score was 87-71, with the Bombers getting up by 16 points. And then the score at quarter time, 18-16. Dom Chead was the player of the match with 43 disposals and 135 AFL fantasy. The goals, Jake Stringer kicked 3 goals. Nick Nat Nui for the tackles, he got 6.
6 tackles.
Yep.
And then Tip and Woody kicked a couple of goals, and Cale Hooker as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was a good win by the Bombers over there.
And the score at quarter time was 18-16.
Yeah. I think, I didn't think they'd win over there. I'm an Essendon supporter, but I didn't think Essendon would do that well over there. They did quite well.
When we did the predictions, he actually tipped Essendon.
I did. I always tip Essendon.
Yeah.
Righto. So the next game, Harry, we've got Gold Coast versus Hawthorne.
Right. Gold Coast was smashing in the first term. They were like 28-0 at some point. And then they won by 37, 113-76 was the final score. Took Miller was the player of the match. 37 disposals, 160 AFL fantasy, and 7 tackles, leading the game.
Yeah, just on that one. Sorry to interrupt you there, Harry. Just on that one, Took Miller. I think in the last 5 games, I read that he's had 30 plus possessions, and the only other player, a Gold Coast player in their history to have 30 odd possessions in 5 games in a row was Gary Ablett. So Took's in pretty good form by the look of it.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
And Ben Kidd kicked the most goals with 4.
4, and Isaac Rankin, I think, kicked 4 as well.
Mm-hmm. And the score at quarter time was 29-20.
Oh, that's Hawthorne. I suppose they've had a pretty good run these last few years with winning 3 flags in a row.
Yep.
So
2013, 14 and 15.
yeah, time for them to rebuild, do you think, Harry? Do you think they need a new coach, or they just need some more players?
More players, probably.
Righto.
Because on the ladder, they're sitting second last.
They are. Who's last on the ladder?
North.
North Melbourne, right.